Yeah, what's good, everybody? This is That's Unfortunate podcast, and it's your boy, Chris, aka SSJ Blackrat, aka Mr. Muckluck, aka the Great One. And I'm so glad that you guys are here for episode 21. That's double. That's a whole different. What's 20s? We're in here.
I love it.
And of course, I am joined with the best co-hosts in podcast land. We got Velvet. What's good, Velvet?
Hey, doing great.
And we have Jade.
Yo, what it do?
What's good? And of course, listen. This is important. This is our first time repeat guest.
Wow.
We have
Look at
said the second
Yes, sir.
back in the building.
Yes, sir. For the second time.
Cedrick, repeat.
Ain't like that.
What's good, my man? What's going on? Welcome
know.
back. How's it feel?
I mean, adequate. You know.
Just adequate.
I mean,
That's
it's
how
the
you
beginning.
feel?
It's the beginning. I mean, I'm warming up to it, but
Okay. All right.
Adequate.
I was gonna say, because last time you were here, we had a whole different setup,
yeah,
look different.
a couple things look different. Yeah,
The production value,
It's better.
yeah.
The
I actually
energy.
have a mic this time.
the energy.
That's the most important part.
I'm not
Yes.
slapping the shit out of you with the thing.
Like I couldn't comment on anything Velvet said because
I'm
she was
sorry.
talking, so I would just have to are you done? All right. So,
Yeah.
I'm happy.
Well, we've recently had an open mic, so.
Like a stand up.
No, we sitting, dude.
Continue, Chris.
It's good to have you back on.
Thank you.
And this episode, I feel like this episode is going to be interesting. I feel like it's a conversation that everyone needs to have in some form or faction. And we're going to be giggling. We're going to be laughing the whole time. Right when it gets
I hope
awkward.
so.
It's going to get awkward in times.
I was on
certain
laughing
points.
because you said that in like a dramatic voice.
Anyone.
Yeah, it was like everyone. Go ahead, bro.
That's what I do. That's what I do. So, before we jump into the good stuff, well, this is already good stuff.
Yeah.
This is actually this is where it starts. This is where it
It's
starts.
spicy.
So I want to ask, without blaming your ex, what should you have done differently in your last relationship?
Did you say relationship?
Mm-hmm.
Did you say relationship?
Mm-hmm.
I heard relationship.
Relationship.
I heard shit.
Oh,
I mean,
wow.
it depends on it's case by case.
All right,
Either
my bad. I
relationship
heard
or
shit.
shit.
All right.
Some people have relationships.
No cap.
You want to go first, Chris?
I
Yeah, it's your dirty
feel like
laundry.
I feel like y'all have been like, yo, you go first.
Yeah.
Go first.
Shit. All right. Last relationship without blaming. Oh shit. Without blaming my ex. Hold on.
Chris, take your time. Bro.
All right. No, something I could have done differently was spend more time with my ex. Like, I was so career driven. I was so, trying to build for the future that I instead of focusing on what I had in the present, I was too busy on looking at a future. So, yeah, I think relationships really fall down to a balance. As with other things in life, always comes down to a balance and a choice.
I like that.
That's a good
Oh,
answer.
dude.
Yeah.
Nobody should answer after that.
Probably
I know.
See,
I
and
feel
that's
like,
why I go
feel like
last.
Mine is gonna be
And that's
shady
why I
as
go
fuck.
last.
I've actually, okay.
Oh.
My last relationship before, I don't know. I feel like before things went really south, because it was a really bad relationship. Instead of expecting more from somebody, I should have accepted the fact that maybe he's not so much of an evil person, and he was loving me as much as he possibly could love me, or as well as he could love me, and that's just not the way that I needed to be loved, and allowing myself to stick around somewhere where that I was not being loved effectively allowed it to manifest and turn into something that was really toxic and abusive. Not that any of it was my fault because he could have controlled himself, but
Without?
You know, at the end of the day, I should have been able to identify that, like, he's not just a mean guy. He's just, like, not able to love me the way I need to be loved. He is still capable of love. He's not, like, emotionless. I just don't respond to his emotions.
All right.
Makes sense.
My last relationship, it was actually my fault. I did not take account for what her love language was. And even when she told me, I really ignored it. And like for real, most of the stuff that went south was on me because I didn't put in enough effort. I'm a lazy guy at heart, so I would get too comfortable just doing the bare minimum. And you know, she would ask for more, and I would, you know, just kind of half-ass it. You know, some stuff I felt like I did do genuine stuff, but I don't think I did enough. So
Proud of you.
No, I feel
That's
bad
sick,
following up with.
go ahead, man.
Go
You
ahead.
got it. Tell us about your relationship.
I shouldn't have settled for the bare minimum in my last relationship.
Oh shit.
That's why I said I felt bad.
I have a
Oops.
oh, maybe that. I don't know which. What do we hit for that one?
That one, I guess.
God damn.
No, I mean honestly, yeah, I shouldn't have settled for that at all. I deserved way better, but here we are. So, yeah.
So I feel like
I feel like I still blamed him. I'm
Cedrick.
sorry.
Huh?
I feel like I low-key still blamed him.
Yeah. So
Yeah, there was no
Sorry.
accountability for any.
Yeah, you
like,
didn't say
negative
I
what's
hated
something
on
that
your
you could have
part.
done differently in that relationship?
What's something that was your fault?
She like saying yes. Like,
Yes.
that's it.
No, I don't know. Because, okay, even throughout it all, I still accepted that and I still understood. Like, I try to make myself understand, like, okay, he doesn't have, you know, this time for me or, you know, it's fine. I get it, blah, blah, blah. And so, like, I don't know.
I mean, if you don't feel like you
No.
could have did anything different,
Yeah.
we're not going. And just to clear things up, we didn't date each
No.
other. So she's not talking about me.
Good, because I'm pretty sure people in the comments
Yeah.
would have been.
Like,
I was listening to it in my head. I was like, yo, that sounds like I was talking about her. And
Because as soon as I said it, too, I was kind of like, oh, shit.
Yeah,
wait.
plot twist.
No.
Oh, y'all wanted a twist.
Nah.
Sorry, guys. No plot twist here.
Go ahead, Chris.
So, like I was trying to say, I think that having that eureka moment, that self-reflection moment of, maybe I should have done something differently. A lot of people don't have that moment. A lot of people are so fixated on like other things. What's up?
Maybe I shouldn't have begged for the time that he didn't have for me. Okay.
Oh, never mind.
Wait, what do you mean?
Like, okay, you know how I said, you know, I was trying my best to be understanding with, like, you know, him not having the time or him not being able to do certain things or whatever. I kind of, like, still, like, begged for it, even though he was, like, incapable of doing so. And maybe I just shouldn't have done that because he just couldn't. Like Jade said, he wasn't, it's not that he was incapable of loving me. He just, or having emotions. He just, wait, how did you say it?
Sometimes people are loving you at their like fullest potential. Like, okay, there were times where like I would want him to be emotionally available, and I wasn't like thinking about things that may have been going on with him.
Right.
And he was being as emotionally available as he could
Sometimes,
be,
yeah.
and like I was not taking that into account. So he
Yeah.
was doing his best, but it didn't seem like his best because my best was more.
Okay. So, yeah, what she said.
Damn, that's
Basically.
deep, bro.
So,
Yeah. So
that's how I would go about it without blaming him.
And so I mean, like, and that's why we do this. I feel like, you know, just talking about that and hearing other people's perspectives and just like seeing people vulnerable, like I think that's the start of getting through toxic relationships. Because you can be past it, but if you're not truly over it, it's just gonna haunt you. So, but let's sort of shift gears. Speaking on relationships, how much influence should your friends have on relationships? Because I feel like I've seen both sides of this. I've seen both sides. I've seen people, like you said, who could give a fuck about how you feel about, you know, their significant other.
God.
And I've also seen people break up because their friends were just in their ear the whole time, showing them all the wrongs and never the rights. There's a lot that goes into this. So I sort of want to sort of like just peel this back. How do you guys feel? What do you guys feel about friends and their influences on relationships?
So, I'll start off. When it comes to me and my best friend, I tell her everything. However, when it comes to me and my boyfriend, I don't tell her everything. Like, if me and him start arguing about, like, I don't know, some petty shit, I'm not going to go and tell her because she's going to be like, do you remember that one time where he was being petty and this and that? If I know, I'm still going to be like, if I'm going to forgive him a few hours later or whatever, you know? But, like, when it comes to shit that's, like, not petty shit, that's not, like, that's a little more serious, of course I'm going to go to her and, you know, seek her opinion, talk to her about it, and just see what she has to say. And at the end of the day, whether I want to stay with that person or not is up to me, and she's going to be fine with that. Like, and I know that. And, like, however, as a friend, and like if she comes to me or something like that with her issues, I mean, obviously I'm going to tell her how I feel. Like, if she were to tell me something that is inexcusable, then, you know, I hope my opinion is something that matters to you enough to where you realize that you don't deserve that, whatever it is that is inexcusable. But again, that differs per person. And I don't know. When it comes to that, I don't know what to tell you.
All right, Cedric. Cedric,
Go ahead.
You got it, Cedric. You got it, because I'm like,
I was already talking.
no, I'm trying to like shift through the words I should be using. Honestly,
All right.
Okay.
My original answer was like, I think your friends should have opinions. Like, if you want to go to them for advice, if you don't know what you should do, you know, this person said that did this. I always say be careful going to your friends because you don't want to air dirty laundry. Because like you said, once your friend hate that person,
Yeah.
you're making your life harder because you keep telling her or him all this stuff. But honestly, I think that's a female thing. Let me say why I say that. Because men usually, most ones I know, I can't speak for every man in the world, I can't speak for every female, but they don't just go off what they got friends say. Like, they don't go to them for every little thing, especially. Because they usually only go to them when they like, man, that bitch tripping, bro. And then that's the whole conversation. You're not going into details saying, like, you might say, bro, she tripping over some dishes. That's it. And then he gonna be like, man, I know how that is, but my girl do the same thing. You think it's normal, you just let it go. Like, you usually don't go to them with every little dirty thing that happens. But, you know, you also got to watch with going to them for good stuff because your friends might be like, he be doing that? Okay. And then they might be choosing. So, you just got to watch how your relationships and friends interact because you never know how that could go.
it all depends on what type of energy you're in, like what type of people you're involving yourself with anyway.
Of course.
Yeah.
But I mean, at the end of the day, I tell my friends pretty much everything because, like, whenever, like, for instance, the relationship I'm in now, like, I'm blind. Like, he could do something completely wrong, and I would just be like, I love you. You're great. You're perfect. You're amazing. And so, like, I look at my friend. Well, that's the thing. When it's right, when it's good, that's how it goes. And I look at my friends and the people that I care about to, like, reach out and tell me, like, hey, this is off. Because, like, they can be that voice of reason whenever you don't have one. Once somebody else's voice is, like, in your head, and that's the way that it is. That's what, like, love to me is. Like, that. I don't not think about him like half the day. Like, most of my thoughts are consumed by like mine and his future. So, like, I'm not thinking about, you know, tiny details. I'm not thinking about repetitive behavior half the time.
Well, okay, so like, but would you listen?
Yes.
If you that deep
Yes.
in, if somebody said like, hey, I don't know.
Yes, because
dude.
the thing is, I nourish my friendships the same way that I'm going to nourish a relationship. Because the thing is why involve yourself in somebody's life if you don't want to be there forever?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Stop fucking with people.
So like with you saying like you're gonna go to that person to see what you can't see, basically.
Right.
So when I was talking about my ex in the icebreaker, there were some points where I was like defending him, and I was like, he everything, like I had an excuse for everything that he did. And my best friend, she was like, look, you're making excuses for him, and you shouldn't be, because you deserve better, and you shouldn't be having to deal with that, and you shouldn't have to you should be with someone who accepts you for who you are and is okay with that and proud of that. And like I said, I just kept, well, his family this, and well, he can't, so eventually I listened to her. But like you said, it's kind of like an eye-opening thing, like having somebody from the outside looking in. It shows you what you can't see because you're so blinded by what you're in. Like,
it's easy to give an opinion when you don't, like, you're not obsessed with the other person.
Yeah.
So you got to take, I'm so used to this person every day. They did this. Now I can't see them ever again. Yeah. And a lot of folks, you can't wrap your mind around that no matter what they say. Like, that's why people go back to folks who cheat, who beat them, all of that, because they so used to it. It's like that's their other half.
Comfort zone.
Yeah, it's like I'm so used to this. Everything I do is like a memory with this person. And then all of a sudden it's like you don't talk to this person ever again. Like, not slowly, it's just never again. No, that's not human nature. You can't do that with a lot of things, like food, anything. So, like, to ask somebody to do that is hard. But that's why you need people like Jade said to, pull you out of there, because it's like if you stay, it's not gonna be better.
I mean, when I tell this story of like my last relationship ending, which was probably one of the worst relationships I've ever been in, I like tell people, like, I made a decision, which ultimately I did. I decided to not pick up the phone and decided to not call him or ask him to come back or anything. But like, my parents stepped in so much. My friends started stepping in, and people were like, yo, like, this is not healthy. You don't look okay. Like, you're not like acting like yourself. We don't see you anymore. You're losing like a lot of weight. Like,
oh yeah,
we know those bruises didn't come from you falling. Like, you've got to do something. You've got to get the fuck out. You got to end it. Like, yeah, it fucking hurt like hell. There were more nights than not that I wanted to pick up the phone and ask him to come back. But at the end of the day, like, a thought hit me, and it was like, at what point did my voice of reason get replaced with somebody else's voice? At what point did I stop being like my conscience? Like, when did that happen? And then I had to like let a lot of people go so I could figure out who the fuck I was again.
So, my point, I wanted to sort of like segue, because it sort of like shares that same thought pattern. I feel like you need to have really good close friends that can be there for you. Like you said, that can be your eyes when you are blind. I've been binging the hell out of Harley Quinn on HBO. And that's just like, I think it's like a textbook example of a relationship, Harley and Joker.
Oh, yeah.
That's completely like, it's wrong. Toxic. Like, it's extreme. It's textbook toxic. And it's great to see that on the show they bring in Poison Ivy. He is that friend that, the voice of reason that, like, hey, this he's crazy. Like, why do you you're still not over him? What are you doing? But she's that good friend that's still there. So
I don't know what's funny.
So
I'm sorry.
I think I know where they're getting with.
I was thinking that, but I don't.
But I'm not gonna.
You didn't think it's funny? Okay, Harley Quinn and the Joker and them being toxic haven't been dumped in
a bunch of toxic ways.
That's why I started laughing.
Oh, damn
it!
I went completely left. I wasn't thinking that.
I was dying. I was like, oh, toxic. I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Velvet. My brain went there too. They are toxic.
So Cedrick, me and you were going to the same place, right?
I believe so.
Okay, all right.
Sorry, guys.
All right. All right. So, but yes. Poison Ivy is Harley's, best friend, and she's there to bail her out of messes. Told her that she's, I guess there's an episode where they go into like her self-conscious, and she has like a memory of her jumping into that vat of acid. But in her like perspective, the way she sees that memory, right before she, she gets thrown into the acid, it's like a little distortion. You can't really see what happens. So the whole time she was telling herself that it was Joker that threw her in, but it was her, actually. She jumped in herself. Like, she was like so blind to the fact that like what she was doing was crazy, that she sort of rewrote her origin story.
Yeah.
So to like sort of spin that into like just real perspective for people, not everything that you remember is like the way it happened.
Yeah.
Everyone has like their set perception on how things go. And like I feel like I know I'm in a good place because I know I have friends that will be there and be like, hey, yo, that really didn't happen that way.
Correct.
This is what happened. And not everybody has that. So
Yeah.
I am lucky.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I feel like
friends.
I'm pretty blessed to like have the people around me who I do, because like when I'm in a situation that's like toxic, even if it's just a friendship, I have other friends who will let me know like, hey, this is not healthy, this is not okay, you've done your best, you should just step out of it, you should walk away from it.
Mm-hmm.
And those are opinions that I trust. And I'm lucky to like have like they support the positive things and actively outright validate those, so that way I'm not like having just hearing toxic shit all the time.
And I also want to say that you can interchange friends and family.
Yes.
And you really could interchange it. Like your family could also be that same person to like point you in the right direction. But like to me, my friends are family.
Yeah.
Same.
So the whole like the Fast and Furious, the whole family thing.
God.
Yeah.
Like
I've
that.
never watched it.
None of them.
None of them.
All right, keep going, Chris.
Friends are family, yes.
Yes. So let's sort of change gears once again and round this out of just talking about toxic relationships.
Change of gears.
Fast and Furious changing gears.
I'm just
That boy, like for real. He do this.
transitions.
I love
He
it
do this in
here.
his sleep.
Yes, thank you. Toxic relationships. Toxic relationships, that's, in actual relationships, but also friendships. Because I feel that friendships could also be toxic.
Family
Once again,
relationships.
family. Shifting, interchangeable. Family relationships can be toxic.
Real quick, if somebody comes up to you and they're like, hey, this person was very horrible, this person was like really like abusive or really toxic, odds are they're not lying to you. Odds are they're telling you the truth. Abusers are just as good as manipulating the people around them as they are the person they're abusing. I mean, you've got to think, if they're able to convince a person to like consciously stick in a relationship where they're getting treated like shit or getting abused or getting beaten or not having the ability to say no, that takes like a certain level of manipulation. And like, if they're able to do that to one individual who they see 24/7, imagine what they're able to do to you, who you only catch glimpses of. They're able to prepare themselves for you. They're able to like set up their little world to where it matches what you think it is, and gaslight you just as well as they're gaslighting the person they're hitting. So like, call your homeboys out, call your friends out, call your, like, if they're treating their girl like shit or they're making like moves on other people, like
Call your homegirls out too.
Yeah, I was just about to say that, too.
Stop like normalizing girls hitting guys. That's fucking weird.
But toxic
and
ain't always got to be abuse, like physical
No.
abuse.
It could be like,
Well, verbal assault, all of it.
But no, I don't think toxic always has to be like that type of relationship. It could just be a relationship where you're not right for each other, but you're trying to make it work because y'all are obsessed with one another
Yeah.
some
Or-
type of way.
No, that's just mom and dad. I'm just kidding.
oh my God. I was just about to say, I was like, I know with my relationship with my father isn't the greatest. And like, well, it wasn't the greatest. And I felt like his toxicity towards me was being like, when I told him I opened a salon, he was like, oh, okay, well, that's cool. And I'm kind of like, I told him on my birthday, and I don't know, I expected more like enthusiasm from that. All my friends were like, oh my God, we got to go celebrate, et cetera, et cetera. Like, I'm so proud of you. You know, just all the like great things you would love to hear. And then like, it's just little things like that. Or like, I couldn't, I don't know. It's so much, but that's just like one of the best examples I can think of. And at one point and then this was one point where he decided to ask me something about my sister. And that was my final straw. He was like, oh, so I heard so-and-so said something about this, about your sister. And I was like, first of all, you haven't even talked to her to ask her about the situation, nor have you reached out to her to see how she's doing and to see if this situation is even true. So don't come to me asking about what is going on with my sister when you haven't even made the effort to reach out to her or acknowledge her or anything. So aside from all that, there was like other things going on. And like Cedrick said, it's not always like physical abuse or like he wasn't verbally abusive to me either. It was just like little things that he did that were kind of like, I just didn't want to deal with that anymore because I was doing better in my life and he didn't have that support for me that I wished he did, and just a bunch of other stuff. So I had to cut him off, and I haven't spoke to him in a year and some change now. So
some people just do shit that chips away at like your emotional security.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, those are basically like non-fulfillment is very much a toxic trait in a relationship, any type of relationship. Like if you're constantly putting out like good vibes and sending good energy and like being supportive of someone's decisions and like, you know, just kind of loving someone relentlessly and they're just, you know, never really putting back into that cup what they're taking out. Yeah, that shit's going to drain you. That's like, and that's also like the telltale sign of like you entering a really toxic relationship. Like if you're bringing up positive shit and they immediately hit you with something negative.
I remember what it was. I told him about the business. He was like, "Oh, is it yours, or is it under someone else's name?" And I was like, "It's mine, like mine." And I was kind of like, "Why would you ask me that when I'm telling you something good? Why would you like bring up something negative?
Yeah,
or like not believe me in what I'm saying?"
Yeah.
Like,
I don't know why, but like sometimes I know I'm a terrible person.
oh my god!
Cause like no, for real, like some of the stuff you was saying, I'm like, damn, I do that. Like,
oh my god!
Like, I was gonna say, no, my original point was gonna be, I'm glad you went first, because I know a lot of stuff you do in relationships come from like your parents. Like I know I'm terrible at communication because my mom used to always hit me with a boy, whatever, and then that was it. Like, you don't talk about it. Or if you make a good point, she would tell you to shut up. Or my dad would, not trying to call you out, mama, you know what I'm saying? But, like, you know what I mean? And so you so used to just quick conversations. So when folks want you to elaborate on stuff, you feel like they don't want to hear it. So you just don't talk. It's like a natural thing. Like, your girl will ask you something, you'll just be like, yeah, it's cool. So,
oh my God, yes.
So I know I do a lot of that stuff, but I know I also do that, and I don't know why. Like, when somebody tells me some news, I always got to ask follow-up questions instead of just saying, congratulations.
Well, okay, so there's a difference between, like, asking questions, like, with, like, genuine, like, curiosity or, like, genuine concern or anything like that. But there's also, like, being an asshole about it. Or, like...
See, I'm both. I can see. I know you're trying to save it, but I'm gonna just stop you. Like, I'm both, because a lot of times I do ask questions like I want to know these answers, but sometimes it's like I just jokingly be an asshole, but to that person it may not be jokingly.
Yeah,
No,
in 100%.
In the moment they just wanted you to say thank you, congratulations, whatever, and I'm, just being me.
Everybody needs validation.
Yeah, sometimes it don't. Yeah, I'm a terrible person.
Damn. So, all right, and if you haven't caught the live shows yet, real quick, what are you doing?
Yeah,
why haven't you tuned in live? Because now we're doing polls. Now we're more interactive. But yeah, check out the live shows on Monday nights on Facebook. This past week we talked about the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air 30th anniversary, and the biggest story coming out of it was the OG Aunt Viv, Janet Hubert, finally, after 27 years, talking to Will Smith about what happened. Long story short, just a lot of toxicity in on set. Pretty much Will making it real difficult for her to like just be on set.
Correct.
So to the point where she got a bad deal for season 3, I believe, and they essentially recasted her and just kept it moving. So reeling it back in, after 27 years, they're finally sitting down, they're finally talking, they're finally making amends. So like the topic, what I want to get at is like, can you forgive? Can you reconcile? And I understand that not every relationship has to have like some sort of final, closure, because no closure can be closure.
Yeah.
You can sort of just, flip the book closed and just leave that book. But when it's something like, in this example, can you do it? Because some people don't. Some people like just harbor feelings.
I mean, in my situation, it would be people forgiving me.
Damn.
So-
His Eeyore ass over here. God damn. Are you good, dude? Are you fine?
No, I just mean in the relationship sense, not just most people. Most people, I'm a great guy, but in the relationship sense, it would be more so them finding like, you know what, you didn't mean to do this. So I understand the other side of like, you messed up, you work on yourself, and then you try to show them, hey, I'm sorry. And then it's up to them to be like, you know what, it's not that deep. I'll let it go. I don't think it should take 30 years for small stuff, but if it's something serious like ruining your career,
Yeah.
sometimes you got to sit back and actually find forgiveness because, like, my life could have been different, bro.
Mm-hmm.
That takes a lot to not, because when you forgive somebody, you also have to not keep bringing it up. You can't forgive somebody and then every 5 minutes be like, but you cheated. Like,
I think forgiveness and accountability are two totally different things. No,
Okay.
like I've been cheated on in a relationship. I was engaged to this man. This is actually the relationship that I keep going back to that was shitty. And he tried to use that same bullshit against me and try to tell me, oh, if you forgive me, you can't keep bringing it up. No, I can, because it's still in my fucking head. You went and did the goddamn thing. And yes, I said that my forgiveness was me staying in the relationship. Now, it's not my fault that your actions, your behaviors are still affecting me to this day. If it's still bothering me, if it's manifested itself into my anxiety every single day, if I'm scared that you're going to do something all the time, that's your fault. And you should be held accountable for that because you've damaged somebody that you promised you would not break that loyalty.
All right, let me take my words back. They have to earn your trust and your forgiveness back. Of course, it should be a stage to do that, but I don't think forever you should bring it up.
No.
I think after you test them, obviously you're gonna put folks through trials and tribulations to see if I actually can trust you. But I feel like eventually,
it just depends on what you can handle, honestly.
That too, like as far as like forgiving someone and not having to keep bringing it up, if they have changed, like you can see that change and you can tell like, okay, yeah, maybe this person is genuinely sorry for whatever happened, whether it was cheating or anything else. Like if you see that change, then it's gonna be easier for you to kind of like forget about that and not keep bringing it up and not holding that against them. Right. But I mean, they just have to prove themselves that they're genuinely apologizing. They're not just apologizing just to have you on good graces. Like,
right.
So what about what about like toxic family relationships?
Oh,
so let's talk
I got
about that.
some of those.
Let's talk about that. So I know some people that say that like blood is everything, and you always gotta, like, if it's your mother, it's your mother. It's your mother.
Right.
Like,
It's your mama, bro.
Which means that she should have been better.
Correct.
So
It's two ways.
I guess I want to ask you guys, like, where do you guys fall with like just toxic family relationships? Do you treat that as like, if you fucked me over, you fucked me over?
No, if you're family, you're held to a higher standard than everybody else is, because y'all were there whenever I was the most vulnerable, whenever I was a baby, whenever I couldn't do anything for myself, y'all were there to mold my environment, mold the way that I treat myself, the relationships that I allow to like myself to encounter and to participate in for the rest of my life is based off of the relationship that I have with them. They were my first taste of the world. And if they were going to treat me like shit, fuck all of them. The man who signed my birth certificate, horrible fucking father to me. Like, he was shit, really. And that's me putting it lightly. That's me being nice, like absolute dog shit. But to my brother, and to my younger siblings, he's been a phenomenal dad. Like, I'm not even, like, he's been great. And I have forgiven him. That's why I don't speak to him. That's why I've not got anything to say, because if I did, I know that it would just make him upset if he has those feelings at all or cares at all, to hear that I think that he's garbage and that he's the very man that I would never want to allow around my children. But I can acknowledge the fact that he has changed. He's doing incredible. Like, if I'm sure that like my siblings, if they brought him the issues that I brought him with, he could solve it the right way. But that does not mean that I'm not going to hold him accountable. Anytime someone's talked to me about it, I'm like, well, no, this is what he did to me. And they'll bring up his change and his growth. And quite frankly, that's that he can take that to the altar, because that's between him and God. That's not between him and me. I don't give a fuck what his change is like. I give a fuck about my change. I give a fuck about how I had to heal from somebody who I had to allow into my life that closely.
So to follow up with that, I feel like it was definitely a lot easier for me to cut off my father than it was to cut off like that shitty relationship I keep talking about. Like, and it's crazy because, like Jade said, you know, you're supposed to hold your family to a higher standard because they are your family. They are someone that they're supposed to be there for you when you need them the most. But when someone isn't there for you, you kind of just, especially being family, you kind of just are like, okay, well, I know not to go back. Like, there was one point in time where like I stopped asking my dad for anything. Like, if I was like struggling, like at one point I needed money for books. I didn't have nothing. And I was like, I don't want to ask my dad. And then I had to, and then I knew I didn't want to, and I knew why, because I knew he wasn't going to, but I did it anyways because I had no other choice. And when he sat there and he was like, oh, I'll send you something in a few weeks, and never sent me anything, I was like, okay, this is me noticing that, this is me finally realizing that I can't trust this person to be there for me when I need him the most. So that and a few other things was kind of like, I kind of just stopped trusting him, and I kind of just stopped like acknowledging him as my father, because I knew he wasn't there for me and I knew he couldn't be. So like I said, it was easy for me to cut him off. Like, it's just all that shit adding up, especially being my father and being that shitty ass person that he was. I was like, all right, fuck it, I don't give a fuck anymore. Like, you did that to yourself. Like, if you genuinely care about me and if you say you love me the way you did, then you wouldn't have done all that shit, and you would have, I guess, handled the situation with when I cut him off a little bit better. But he didn't, so I was like, fuck it. It was easy for me to do that.
I feel like people don't realize how, especially like when it comes down to family, how much what they do molds us into the person that we are.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like that stuff, like it's like your relationships growing up is like how you look at other relationships.
Yes.
As a grown up. And I feel like, you know, me personally, I am lucky enough to sort of like, I guess, have the mind to sort of see through the bullshit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Same.
I don't.
100%. I'm so blessed because, I mean, I would literally like, I remember conversations everyone else in my family would have with me like, this is what your dad's into. Why don't you try doing this? Why don't you try doing that? And I would always remind them, even as like a young child. And I guess it's because, you know, my mom was always so supportive before she passed away, but I was always adamant about, I did not create him. He created me, right? He's the one who signed the birth certificate and said that this is my child. So you should be revolving your world around me. You're supposed to be like doing what I'm interested in. Fuck what you're interested in. You're supposed to, like, I'm your kid. Your world stops after you have a child. And I mean, whenever I took care of my nephew, my world stopped because there was a child in my care. You don't matter anymore after that. So you don't.
So I feel like, you know, for me, at some point, like I know I want to go to like therapy about this stuff because there are certain things that are sort of unresolved that I haven't really gotten over, or like I'm still sort of like dealing with now.
Big same.
And you know, I know we say this a lot on the show, but let's normalize just therapy and like being exposed and trying to grow. I think the biggest thing about therapy is going into it, trying to like having that initial want to get better. You can't really go to therapy and not want to get better.
Yes.
Because people do that.
Yes.
People say, people like, yeah, I'll get therapy. I'm going to go see a therapist. And they won't. They won't, because in their heart of hearts, they know that I feel like it's like a hamster wheel. They feel like it's like,
okay, have you ever seen He's Just Not That Into You?
Who's in it?
A lot of people. Well, there's this one part where this one guy tells this girl, like, look, you're not paying your bills on time, and you keep trying to talk to this guy that doesn't even care about you, and you keep doing this, you keep doing that, because you like that drama and you like that attention. That's, like you said, when people who do that and they go into therapy, like, without, like, any intention of actually changing, it's because they like the drama in their life, but they just want everybody else to see, like,
they just want
everybody else to think, like, oh, yeah, I got my life under control.
But that's what
like
toxic relationships really are. Like,
hamster wheels?
I guess.
Yeah.
I'm talking about, like,
It's the same
most
old
of the
song
time,
and dance.
like, when you come to a relationship, I don't know about family necessarily, because most of the time you just want your family to love you. But with relationships, it's like, folks enjoy that. Like, no, like, not all of it. Like, with the abuse side, I'm going to stop you for you. But like the small stuff, I asked somebody this because I was talking about it, and they was like, if it was too perfect, you might get bored. And I was like, but I thought that was the goal, to have a perfect relationship.
I have a confession. I used to not like dating guys who were too nice to me because I felt like it was something to shut up.
No.
I was young and stupid, but I don't know, like, I know you're saying no, but that's not everybody. I felt like there was something wrong. Like, what's wrong with you? Like,
then some girls feel they can change them, and they like feel like it's a project.
Yeah, well, okay.
That's the
First of
thing
all,
too, yeah.
Women are not mental rehabilitation centers for damaged men. Let's start there. Second of all, I mean, I see where you're talking about, because I know a lot of people who like cannot live without the drama of it.
Mm-hmm.
I, on the other hand, I was drawn to my ex-fiance because I thought I could fix whatever was going on.
That's the thing too. Like,
genuinely.
Mm-hmm.
But, and I stuck around even through all the bullshit. But now, like, I don't know. Like, I get treated amazing. Like,
Good for you.
Thank you. But like, coming from a polar opposite of that, like, sometimes it does feel too perfect, but it's not something that like I'm like wanting to disrupt. It's something that like it's you know, I'm not gonna go out of my way to just be a bitch or like cause some extra drama like a couple of my friends that I have around me.
I was young, okay? I was still a teenager.
Okay.
Please leave me alone.
I'm going, I don't know, like, it's just, that's something that because I think very far into the future, I want my children to expect this out of love. I want my family.
Yeah, so like how Chris was talking, I'm so sorry to cut you off,
okay.
but like how Chris was talking about earlier about how, like, you know, you see through the bullshit. All my life, all the females in my life
Right.
have had such shitty marriages, relationships, baby daddy, whatever issues that I like have set in my mind that I cannot and will not deal with that bullshit. And that's like I mean, granted, I dealt with it with my ex, but I didn't get married, or I didn't have a kid with him, or I didn't like take it any further because I knew I did not want to be like the females in my, I'm sorry, you guys know it though. You guys tell me all the fucking time, so I'm not calling you out on anything.
Right.
I'm just saying, like,
We just stating facts.
yeah, like I knew I did not want to deal with that long term. Like, I've talked about this a lot. A lot of Hispanic women have to deal with this, where they get married to these guys, pop out babies, do dinner, do breakfast, do lunch, do this, do that, and the guy does whatever the fuck he wants. I'm not doing that. And I've always made that like a thing. Like, I will never settle just because I have had something with this person for X amount of years or whatever. I'm not going to do that. It's talking long term.
Yeah.
I mean, I might,
It's two things I was going to
but
say.
not long term.
One thing was, I feel like a lot of people stay because they don't know it's something better out there.
Yes.
That was
They
a big
so-
issue I had too.
They so used to that. They don't know. There's somebody out there that'll love you better than them. You know, they so comfortable with it.
Yes.
And then
Comfort zones.
the second thing I was gonna say is I know for a fact I got commitment issues because of the opposite. I seen my parents stay together longer than I feel like they should have stayed together.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like I've
that
seen
happens
my,
a lot.
I seen my parents. They still together. I hope they don't hear this, but they still together. And I just be watching sometimes, like y'all. They used to love each other, like when they was younger.
You're holding on
now-
to something that wasn't there anymore.
Now, yeah, I just be seeing it like y'all should just go ahead and let that go, and that's why I have a fear of like I don't want to be in a relationship
know what
too
hit me?
long.
You know what hits me with that like kind of relationship?
What?
I've had to realize that like you got to stop loving people for the role they play in your life and start loving for them people for the individual that they are. Like
Yeah.
I don't love my boyfriend because he's my boyfriend. I love him because of who he is. Like
See,
I love my friends because of who they are, not because of the position they serve in my life. So that way, whenever that position elevates to something else, I'm not clinging to something that used to be.
I mean, that's deep because like I struggle with that. Like I literally envision, like I see my parents and I just think that's gonna be me. Like I'm gonna get married and I'm gonna just be comfortable with that person
So-
to the
I
point
say that
where I'm
so
like,
sorry.
I don't even love them. But
I say that all the time, and that is like my biggest fear. And I
Right.
think I've mentioned it before on like season 1, where my biggest fear is having to settle with someone and just like it's our 30th anniversary and we're going to fucking Chili's. I don't want to do that's like my biggest fucking
monotony
fear. Like,
kills monogamy. Doing the same thing over and over and over and over again and not elevating anything and not adapting and evolving
and
with
that's that
somebody is what will
comfort
kill
zone.
it.
Yeah, and that's that comfort zone I
So
keep
find
talking about.
somebody
Like,
who you agree with.
well, no, I know that's the goal, but I'm saying like
gonna happen.
in the back, in the back of my mind, it's always that
You
like
guys.
right. Like, in the back of my mind, that's always like a thought like fuck, like okay, this person is like great or whatever, but I don't want to for either of us to stay in that comfort zone where we're like okay, we're doing great, this is enough for us. I that's why I want to be with someone who always wants to level up, like Jade said, like who always wants to like be like better.
I think I'm also in the same boat where looking at my parents' relationship, I've learned what to do and what not to do. And I think you got to sort of look at it that way so that you're not looking at just purely the negatives. You can also see like the positives and things. Because I say that as in like I see that I shouldn't do this, and I don't want to repeat things that like that my parents did.
That's why I'm like that with all the females in my family. Like they always tell me like, don't settle for this, don't settle for that. And that's why and that's why all the people are asking me, well, you're such and such age. How come you haven't gotten married? How come you haven't had this? Or how come you haven't done that? Because I know what I don't want to do. So I just haven't done that. And another thing, can we like not like stay together because of the kids?
But
No.
that's hard though because
No, all you're doing is teaching your daughter that.
no,
it's
I'm
okay.
not. I'm not saying that it's right. I'm saying like it's hard when people, because in your head, when you have a child, somebody you want it to be like for a family. You don't want to just be baby daddy, baby mama. Nobody do, but
Yeah.
I mean some do. But but like it's hard
I've had people like try to start a relationship saying, "Yo, you're gonna be my baby daddy."
Yeah,
I'm like, why are we even like jumping to that point?
See, I don't want no baby mamas out here.
I
Like,
don't
that-
either.
I
Yeah.
feel like if that happens to me, I give up on life.
Oh my God.
I'm not saying
That's
I'm
extreme.
not saying like that. I'm just saying.
He's like, I'm gonna fucking
If you're a
end it.
viewer, if you're a viewer
No,
and
no,
you're
no, chill. I'm not saying it like that.
if you're a viewer and you're a baby daddy, we do not. The
No, yeah,
opinions
I'm not-
represented on this show do not reflect us or the production or any of the management or co-stars.
I'm just saying that. Never mind. I'm not even gonna elaborate on it.
Yeah, because
out
that's
there
all
might
on
be
you now
watching.
anyway.
Nah, chill out,
He said I'm gonna kill myself if I'm a baby daddy.
I didn't say that. I was gonna fix it, but then I just can see a baby daddy listening like, nah, bro, tell me what I need to do, and I don't want him to. I don't want
Just
it to go
do
south.
right. How about
Yeah,
that?
like from
Just-
the
yeah.
beginning.
But folks want that family, so
Yeah.
usually they're gonna try to make it work as much as they can. Like,
And that's fine, but if it's to the point where you can't fix that shit, don't stay in a relationship or
When
in
you
a
in love,
situation.
you don't know that
like,
No, you know what I do when I meet like someone that like divorced? I give them a high five. I'm like, yo, good on you.
Proud of you.
yes.
Proud of you.
well, you
Look.
got to make sure they're the ones that did it and not just like
But even
No,
then,
you.
proud of you. Like, even if they're the ones that fucked up, at least like you're able to move past it.
Yeah.
Real quick, back to the kids thing. Y'all need to stop having these fuck trophies and thinking that you can like fit them into your lives as picture frames and Instagram posts.
Wait, did you just call a child a fuck trophy?
That's what they
Bro,
are.
CJ
Wow.
started me on that. I heard one better. Somebody said crotch fruit.
Or
Boy,
cum pie.
Oh, okay, what?
That's not what I ever heard it maybe be called, Velvet.
Like a fully baked cum pie.
Velvet.
We was staying so like, over here.
We were so. I mean, come on, Velvet. I was pushing it with fuck trophy.
Like crotch fruit was simple. It was PG.
Anyway,
and followed up with that. Okay.
these children are not just like,
Sorry.
like. I get it. You like want to keep the family
Make that
together,
shit work.
but like, that's a human being right there. They're like you are their. You're the first slice of the world that they get to see. Like they don't have any other representation in this world. Like my parents used to fist fight. There was things thrown across the house. There was screaming, and you know what I ended up in a relationship like? I was fist fighting. Things were being thrown around the house. I was being slut shamed all the time. I was being treated like shit all the time. I was being gaslit into thinking that things weren't happening whenever they were. And it didn't start that way. He started off loving me so effectively. And I accepted it because I've seen everyone else accept it because I started off as a child watching that. Stop. Like, if you've got a man who treats you like shit, or if you've got a woman who treats you like shit, men and women alike, because you both can be abused, if you are being fucked around on, walk away. Don't keep going back, because your kids are going to do the same thing. Your sons are going to like grow up thinking they can be cheated on, they can get hit on, or thinking that they can hit on someone or cheat on someone. Your daughter's going to do the same thing, and you're just going to cycle out that shit. Like, yeah, something may run through the family until it runs into you. You have to be the one to make it end.
And then stop having sex with people raw. Excuse me. That you don't want in your life.
Yeah.
It's tempting.
It's a
The
boy,
fruit
it's a girl.
is tempting.
It's a
But
boy.
you got to think right before you go in, do I want a baby coming out? Like, you got to think about that, man, because too many people, you know what I'm saying, they just out here doing what they do. And then you was like, yo, you pregnant? Oh, hell no. Like, you shouldn't even put yourself in that situation.
Yeah. So
Oh, man.
I think that what we could get out of this is that, be aware of what's a toxic relationship. Like, if you have
Yes.
friends, family telling you that, hey, they're pulling you off to the side, hey, this ain't right. This is toxic. They're doing this, that, and the third to you. If you have a bunch of people telling you that, maybe they're onto something, right?
If those are
Perhaps.
people you really trust, because
and-
they could be manipulating you too. So to make sure
No.
it's somebody
If
you
it's
actually listening
multiple
to. No, I said
people?
it. No, I meant like the one person.
Oh.
That's what I mean.
Okay.
Yeah.
Make sure it's somebody you actually really have had a situation where you trust them, because people do that. They'll be like, hey, that person's not right for you, because that person is right for you, and they want to keep you in a certain place. So
Yeah, I mean, my mom was on a episode. Shout out, Mom. And she gives me the best advice when it comes to like literally everything. And she was around for the last end of my relationship, and she basically told me remove. Like, she said that she could tell me all day long until she's blue in the face, but I'm not going to see it until I want to see it. So I need to remove myself from everyone's opinions for a second, and I need to ask myself, am I fighting harder to defend him than I am fighting to defend myself? And if I'm fighting harder to defend him than I am to defend myself, like if I'm like creating more excuses for his behavior than I am creating excuses for me to see patterned manipulation, then I need to fucking run.
and I think when it comes to family relationship, it's harder though, because it's like with those type of relationships, I feel like I can see them. I mean, even though I said it was me, I feel like I can see them easily. With family, I don't really see the toxic side. I don't. I know y'all said y'all do, and I'm glad y'all do. Y'all need to work with me. But I don't know. I just feel like I overlook stuff because it's family, and
Yeah.
My shit ain't as serious as y'all's. You know, it be small stuff like
Yes,
they
it is.
consistently asking me for money.
It is.
That's-
It is
And they,
serious.
you know, no. Okay, I'm not gonna say level, but like y'all ain't have people in y'all life, and they was treating y'all like shit. I say it's not as serious because it's not like life changing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you know, I get what you're saying. Every problem
But,
is a problem.
you've
that
mentioned
leads.
that you've brought it, but you're carrying it into other relationships. It's prevented you from settling into a relationship because you don't.
Yeah,
want
it affected me. So yeah, you're right.
it is. It is
It's
pretty serious. It's actually at a very. It's.
But I don't-
Whenever you go to the hospital to treat something, you don't compare the size of your broken arm to someone's broken leg because both of you deserve treatment. So, what's going on with our lives and with our families ain't got shit to do with you. You're the one who has to answer to your family at the end of the day. So, like, if it's still affecting you in like regular relationships and in any other aspect of your life, that is major. It's deep seated. It was your first taste of the world, and it was done wrong. So you have to like cope with that.
So right now, you don't see it. You probably see it right now on his face. But he's like running. Cedrick right now is like running back. He's like, "Yo, this cousin did say this. And do this. Damn, my uncle did do this, that, and the third. Holy shit, my brother ain't shit."
Oh, my brother know he ain't shit, but I still love him. What's up, boy?
What's up? What? But toxic relationships is stuff that y'all need to talk about. Normalize having a conversation. Normalize having therapy and going to therapy because you want to get better, not because everyone's telling you to get better. You yourself want to get better. We want to see you better. We want to see you make it through it. Want to know why? So you can continue watching That's Unfortunate, liking, sharing, subscribing, and all that.
That's a terrible reason.
So with that,
Oh my god.
No toxic relationships, only toxic by Britney Spears.
Cedric, thank you for being on for the second time.
Said the second.
That's
Never
it. You'll never see
seeing
him
y'all
again.
Anything you want to shout out?
Did enjoy it.
Anything you want to shout out?
If you stay, like I said the first time I was here, if you stay in the Atlanta area and you need a vehicle of any kind that we sell, come to the McDonough store, Sons Honda. Like I said, it's in McDonough 105 Sons Drive 30235. But if you need a car, just hit my line. You know, I got a page on Facebook, Cedrick at Sons Honda in McDonough. I got a page on Instagram, the same thing, Cedrick, Sons Honda in McDonough. If you need a new Honda, a pre-owned Kia, we got two Charger GTs up there.
Okay.
It's less than 30,000. You really could come get that. Like we got Impala. I'm telling you, just
Got it.
message the show, comment anything. I'll
Yes.
check the comments. You know what I mean? I ain't that. You know, so I'll check the comments.
We'll hook y'all up.
Like,
Definitely. We'll have the
just
links.
come buy a car. That's what I'm saying.
All right.
Bad credit, decent credit. Bring some cash with you if you got bad credit. But I'll work with you. I'll work with you.
Good
You're
stuff.
doing great, Cedric.
Thank you.
Once again, we are signing out for episode 21.
21. Nobody
Catch y'all.
said that. I don't-
We'll catch y'all next week for the season finale.
Ooh.
Tortijuan.
Can't wait. See y'all next time.
Get the-
Peace.
What?
Get the-